Hello, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we've got just a chill, relaxed Q&A. I love doing these. I think they're so fun. So let's get into it. Okay, first question. Any thoughts on what to do when injured? I broke my thumb rolling, but don't want to give up or stop learning. I am so glad that you brought this up because this summer, I think it will be 4 years since I actually broke my thumb. I fractured it and I tore 2 ligaments. I was put in a cast, the whole 9 yards, and it sucked. After that experience, I realized you don't realize how much you need and use your thumb until you don't have it. And then also, side note, being a makeup artist, I had to learn how to do everything with one hand. Luckily, the thumb that I broke and tore was my left thumb, and I'm a righty, so I just kind of had to learn how to do everything with one hand because I didn't want to put this like bright blue cast in people's faces. So that was an interesting experience. But back to jujitsu, I did do a couple of things to sort of stay active with jujitsu, not to forget about it for a couple of months, and also to keep myself sane. So obviously with your thumb being broken, you can't do much in the gym, as in the regular gym. You can't do a ton of weight training, but I did do as much cardio as I possibly could. I ran on the treadmill, I used the bike just to kind of keep my body active, to keep my body moving. And then after that, I would go and watch jujitsu class. I cannot recommend enough that when you are injured, try to make it to class and just watch. Watching technique, watching people roll is still so helpful. You're still filling your mind with jujitsu. You can take notes, you can study the notes after, and then also aside from watching the technique and watching people roll, it just feels really good. It feels normal to be on the mats, to be in the jujitsu environment, to see your friends. So for me, that was just really helpful when I was injured and I couldn't really train, to just be in the environment. It just really helps to lift your spirits, to prevent you from getting in a funk that sometimes we can definitely get in when we get injured and we can't train. The next thing that I did was I found someone, my fiance, to drill with me. Believe it or not, you can still do jujitsu with one hand. Obviously, you have to be careful, but there are certain things that you can still do. I would practice certain takedowns with one hand. I would do close guard drills. I would do inversions. I would do drills where I shoot from a triangle to an arm bar, switching back and forth. You can still do all of the warm-up movements for the most part, sit escapes, hip escapes, break falls, technical stand-ups, obviously with your good hand. But I think it's just so important to keep your body moving in the jujitsu way so that your body stays active with these particular ways that we move in jujitsu. Then something else that I recommend is watching instructionals when you're not at the gym. Being injured is the perfect time to maybe buy an instructional from a black belt that you admire, from a black belt that maybe has a game that you can see yourself playing. Having some free time is the perfect time to study. Overall, just the most important thing when you're injured and you can't really train like you normally do is staying as active in your school, in jujitsu, as you possibly can. Getting down, getting a little bit depressed from an injury is absolutely real, and we want to avoid that however we possibly can, and staying active in jujitsu is the way that we're going to do that. And also keep in mind, this injury is not going to last forever. Do what you can, but listen to your body. Your body does need to rest. One day you will heal, and one day you will get back to training like you normally do. Next question, how do you handle stressful moments in your life? Specifically, how do you maintain the motivation to keep up with working out? Jiu-jitsu is definitely a stress reliever. Being active in general is definitely a stress reliever. Also, something else that really works for me, if I'm going through something that's really stressful, if just this current situation is bringing up a lot of emotions, I actually like to run. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't love running. Running is not part of my regular workout routine, but if something is causing me a lot of emotional stress, I find that running just helps me to almost just be free. I can just move freely. I can put all of my emotion into the run. I can just play my music and zone out. It helps me to clear my head, and then when I'm finished with the run, I think I can process my emotions a little bit better, a little bit more more clearly. And for me, running on a treadmill won't do it. I have to run outside. That's when I feel the most free. That's when I feel I can really move. So that's what I like to do. And then specifically, how to maintain the motivation to keep working out. It is 100% not motivation. It is the dedication to being healthy, to feeling good. That's what keeps me going. I'm not gonna lie, the past couple of months have been really hard to stick with my jujitsu training, have been really hard to stick with working out. I feel like just with wedding planning and moving and working a ton, it's just been really difficult to maintain these things. There have been a lot of big life changes going on, and jujitsu training and working out have not been my main priority. But I still get it done because I know that moving and being active is great for me physically, mentally, emotionally, and I know that I will feel better after I do it than if I didn't do it at all. You know, now when I think about being active and exercising and the foods that I eat, I think about it more so than just how I want to look or how I want to feel in the moment. I use the food that I eat and I use the way that I move my body as motivators to how I want to feel 5, 10, 20 years from now. Do I want to be? Do you want to be 65 and falling apart, or do you want to be 65 and still acting young and vibrant and healthy and still feeling good like you do when you're 25 or like you do when you're 35? Aging doesn't necessarily mean that our body has to fall apart, but we do have to take care of it now. We do have to lay that foundation now when we're young. I want to live the healthiest, most vibrant life that I possibly can, even as I age down the road, and there's no reason why you can't either. And I know that being active, keeping my body moving, and eating quality foods is going to lead to that. Question number 3. If one trains 3 times a week, how fast do you think they could get a stripe promotion? There is truly no one right answer to this question. Everyone's jujitsu journey is so different. If you can really only make it to training 3 times a week, then your professor is going to judge how well you're doing on your 3 times a week. Are you going to classes 3 times a week every single week? How well are you doing with comprehending the moves that you're learning? How well are you doing with executing the moves in live roles? If you're consistent and you're doing well with all of the points that I just mentioned, and you're a white belt, I usually find that white belts get stripes like every couple of months. Of course, like I said, it depends on your school, it depends on your coach. So yeah, I don't know. I would say probably a couple of months. And then let me just finish this question by throwing this in here. I know getting promoted is really exciting, and I know we all want to get stripes and we all want to keep working towards that next belt, but don't let getting a stripe, don't let getting promoted be your main motivation for training. Look at me, for example. I've been a purple belt for almost 2.5 years, and I don't have any stripes. If I were to let promotions and getting stripes influence my training, I probably would have quit a long time ago. So go to class, stay consistent, train hard so that you can keep learning and keep getting better, and the stripes and the promotions will come. Next question. Do you ever battle extremely dry throat that is like razors when you breathe after a super intense roll? I know what you're feeling. I know what you're talking about. For me, that doesn't happen in training. I have felt that in competition. And I think that's mainly because the adrenaline is so high, the nerves are so high, and I also make the mistake quite often of not getting a good warm-up in before I compete. So after my first match, my lungs feel like they're just going to explode, and it's not a good feeling. But in training, you know, we don't want to have that feeling happen on a regular basis. It doesn't feel good. What I would definitely recommend is try to focus on not breathing in and out through your mouth. That is not how we are supposed to breathe. We are supposed to breathe in through our nose, big deep breaths through our belly and not through our chest. So breathing through your mouth might be aiding to this razor sharp discomfort that you're feeling in your lungs. If I'm rolling and I find myself kind of huffing and puffing through my mouth, I have to consciously tell myself to sort of redirect my breathing and breathe in through my nose. You'll get deeper, fuller breaths when you breathe in through your nose as well, versus these sort of shallow breaths that you get from breathing in through your mouth and through your chest. Jiu-jitsu, once you want to have kids, will you take a break or stop altogether? I don't see myself taking a break if I'm actively trying to get pregnant. When that time comes, we will see how smooth that process is, but I'm hoping that I don't have to actually take a break from training in order to get pregnant. When the time is right and my body is getting ready to have a baby, I will 100% not train. And that is not saying anything badly about women that choose to train while they're pregnant. Everybody's pregnancy is different. So if you're pregnant and you're choosing to train, or if you have been pregnant and you train throughout your whole pregnancy, that's amazing and I applaud you. It comes down to just whatever you personally feel safe with. There's some women that stop rolling altogether and they just drill with people that they feel comfortable with. I've also seen women still continue to roll when they're pregnant. If you get the okay from your doctor, go for it. If you feel safe, go for it. I personally just see myself sticking with strength training to stay strong and healthy during my pregnancy. Give up the jiu-jitsu for, the 9 months. Jiu-jitsu will always be there. I can always come back to it. How many stripes did you have on your white belt before you started feeling comfortable rolling? This person also asks the last question of the day, which is how many stripes should you have on your white belt before competing? So again, we don't want to place too much emphasis on stripes. Stripes matter, they show your progress, but they don't mean everything. So going back to that first question of how many stripes did I have on my white belt before I started feeling comfortable rolling? I don't know, I think I started feeling comfortable rolling a couple of months in. When I was a white belt, I got a stripe every, I think, 4 or so months. So yeah, I probably started actually feeling just comfortable rolling. Again, not having any idea what I was doing, but at least comfortable going to class and comfortable training, probably around the time that I got my first stripe, maybe a little bit before. And then how many stripes should you have on your white belt before you start competing? You can start competing whenever you want. Stripes and competing literally doesn't matter. I've known people that waited to compete 8 months into training. I also know people that waited 2 or 3 weeks after they started training. It is totally up to you. It is totally up to how you feel and how comfortable you are with jiu-jitsu, how ready you feel to compete. Let me rephrase that. You'll never quite feel ready, at least to do your first tournament. So it's more so whenever you feel ready to just kind of throw yourself into the fire. So don't worry so much about stripes. With competition and your first competition, I would say wait until you feel like you have some basics down. You want to at least have an understanding of close guard, side control, mount, and back control. You want to feel comfortable with maybe one takedown, or you want to feel comfortable with pulling guard. When you feel like you have a general idea of the basic positions, I feel like then you're probably ready to throw yourself into competition. And that will be a different timeline for every person. For someone, that might mean you have no stripes and you have the idea sort of the basics of jiu-jitsu. For someone else, that might mean you have 4 stripes. So yeah, try to focus on those things and always talk to your coach. He or she will know if you're ready for competition. He or she will know if you're ready for your next stripe. So don't be afraid to ask if you have some questions about it. And that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment if you did. Leave a comment if you have any additional opinions on things that I've talked about. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you are not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. I really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that bell notification button so that you never miss when I post a new video. And until the next video, I will see you guys next time.